Hello everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to episode 2 of the TSW Looking Back series. So this is the series where we're going back looking at all the routes and DLCs that we've had in TSW so far, some of which we've not played for quite some time. Certainly I haven't, so we have just gone past our 100th DLC for TSW, so I thought it'd be a good series to go back. If you've not seen episode 1, where we were on East Coastway in the 313, there is a link coming up now in the top right hand corner of your screen. Go ahead and watch that one first. This is episode 2, and well, I wasn't going to do a UK route straight after the first UK route that we looked at with East Coastway. The problem with this one is my hand is being forced, because this is the Cathcart Circle and this is the original Cathcart Circle, and within a few days of making this video it will be replaced I should say, with the remastered version of the Cathcart Circle. We'll have a talk about that as we go, but this is the original Cathcart Circle, which came with TSW2, I believe, so it's quite an old route now in the grand scheme of things. In this service we're going to go from Neilston to Glasgow Central, so we're not going round the circle itself. I thought we'd do the sort of straighter run between Neilston and Glasgow. It's a nice July morning. We'll get the doors open, but first of all let's get set up before we do anything else. We'll put the reverser into forwards. Doors are opening, which is fine. So destination board light. We want the headlights to headlights and markers. Instrument lights up to high. Good. So we're all ready to go there. What about the safety systems then? So in many ways, this is the 314. I'm not going to put the DSD on because I'm going to spend some time out of the cab. So this is the 314, which comes with Cathcart Circle. Very, very similar to the 313, as you'll no doubt appreciate when you look at it inside and out. And this is the ScotRail version. So I said this comes with the route. And if we look at the map, we've got Neilston down here where we are. And if we come up here, we've got Glasgow up at this top end. Here's the Cathcart Circle itself. And then we can also go off to the right. The name of it escapes me, and of course we can't get labels on this map. But there is another longer run which you can do up to this side, and that just shows how long it is since I played Cathcart Circle. I can't even tell you what that's called. It's there though. So we're going to lock the doors. Yeah, the new Cathcart Circle is coming out next week. Right before we get the 380, which is a new loco DLC that's coming out. So it's this route is being given the treatment, new lighting, the Todd 4 lighting, lots of scenery upgrades, trackside foliage, you name it. So it's going to directly replace this original version. And so I wanted to make sure that I covered this original version before it disappeared, because once it's gone, it's gone. Now, if you own this version of Cathcart Circle, the original one, you'll get the upgraded one free of charge. You don't get the 380, you're going to have to buy that. That's a separate DLC. But you will get the upgraded route. Similar to what happened with West Somerset Railway, which again, when we come to cover the West Somerset Railway, unfortunately, the original version is now gone and has been replaced with the new version, the new remastered version. So I can't cover the old version, although you will find some videos of it on the channel if you want to look back. It just won't be in this series. But today we are off to Patterton next in 2.8 miles. So I thought doing a longer run would be slightly better to have a look at the route itself. Let's have the horn. And of course, I haven't put on the safety systems. Did I? No, I did. Of course I did. Of course I did. And I reluctantly didn't put the DSD on because the DSD can catch you out when you're outside the cab, and I didn't want to do that. But this is set in July, this particular service that I'm doing. So I thought it would give us a good comparison between the lighting in this version and the new upgraded lighting that we'll get next week once the new one comes out. I'm assuming it's next week because on the 11th of July we've got the 380 coming out, so we need the upgraded route first before we get the 380. So I assume it's going to come out just before, although I don't think a date has been given yet. Anyway, so let's do that. We can listen to some of the outdoor sounds as well. I think I've got the mastery on as well on this route, which is of course the UFO, if you're familiar with that. I need to remember where it is actually. I think it is down this end somewhere. I'll try to remember as we approach it, so we can have a look at that. Apparently Scotland is famous for UFO sightings, and therefore we've got a UFO mastery tile in the game. I'm not sure. I've left it switched on because it looks pretty good. In fact, I think the only mastery tile that I've unlocked that I haven't got in the game at the moment is the giant kraken on West Cornwall. So we haven't covered West Cornwall yet, we will do, but the mastery tile for that is a big kraken or giant octopus or squid or something like that, which is grabbing, it's down at St Ives, it's grabbing a full rigged sailing ship and dragging it under the sea. And I mean I get it because of the area where it is, but it looks a little bit out of context for me. So I've never switched it on. I think it looks a bit ridiculous, I'm going to be honest with you. Now you might say a UFO looks ridiculous, but I can kind of, you know, the UFO I can take or leave. I don't mind it. I think it's alright. But that is the only mastery tile that I've not got switched on. And I think I've got most of them. Right, we're approaching Patterton. Let's see if we can brake in this 314 a little bit better. It's pretty much the same unit as the 313. It's very, very similar, isn't it? Now, you see the lighting on this route, I don't think is that bad. Obviously the sky is different to what we'll be getting. There's a couple of times where this route can look, in my opinion, a little bit washed out. A little bit on the high contrast side. I'm not seeing it here, so it must be in certain weathers and certain conditions, certain months of the year. But it can look a little bit high contrast, a little bit washed out, which can be a problem. But I think for the new route, where you'll really notice the lighting will be at night time. So if you watch the Dovetail stream, which was last week, you would see that the night lighting on the stations was excellent. So, you know, the lampposts here were sort of beaming down the orange kind of lighting, yellowy orange lighting reflecting on the platform. It looked really, really good. And you could see in a slight mist, you could see the beams of light cutting through the mist, which I thought looked really, really good. And it doesn't quite do that in this version of Cathcart Circle. We will get some other updates as well. So you can see the GSMR is in. I don't think it comes on. Let me just try. You can only contact the signaller So the 314 gets a little bit of an upgrade as well in certain places. GSMR is one of them. So that will work to a fashion. As we said in the last video, we don't have a fully functioning GSMR like we do in TS Classic on some of the Armstrong Powerhouse units. So, you know, we can't type in our service number or the starting signal, etc., like we can in some of the TS Classic ones. But, you know, it's a start. Right, here's the UFO, look. It's there crashed. And you can see the men in black have arrived, investigating. There's cows in there. I don't know why there's cows in there, but there is. So that's the mastery tile. I tell you what, it looks really good at night as well, that mastery tile, because of the glowing, you know, like from the engines of the UFO. It's got like a pulsating blue light, which looks really, really good. So I don't mind that. You don't always see it as well from the train as you're going past. You have to kind of look for it. You can see the glow, but you have to go and look for it. So it's, you know, I get it. Some people will turn off mastery completely because they think it's just not realistic. I get that. But some of them are quite good. Northern Transpennine, we haven't covered that yet, but Northern Transpennine has got hot air balloons, for example, and they look really good. And they're not, you know, in your face. That's quite a nice mastery tile. I'm going to shut the doors early, then we can be away, because we are on time, as you can see there. 5 seconds to the off. There we go. So yeah, the 314 is going to get some little upgrades as well. There is a full change list for the new route that you'll be able to see on the Dovetail Live article, and I'm sure there'll be more updates given next week when it releases as well. I'm quite looking forward to it. I think it's nice to breathe life back into some of the older routes. As I said, this route is a TSW2 route, and I imagine that things have moved on with the game significantly since TSW2. Lots of ways of doing things that are much more efficient, changes in technologies, upgrades to the way that track is laid, foliage, etc. So you know, there's been a couple of routes upgraded so far. So I hope, you know, this is going to be a running thing now, and Dovetail will go back and do a few more of these. I'm all for it, and I just went into emergency brake by accident. Actually, we seem to be sliding, which is really bizarre. Oh, you know why? I've got the throttle on. Honestly. Objective failure. Right, so we've missed the station. I'm braking with the throttle on. Can you even believe it? Do you know, there's a running theme in these videos, isn't there? I should voice them over afterwards. I should concentrate on the driving, and I should voice them afterwards. But the thing is, you see, I like to talk about what I'm actually seeing while I'm driving, so that's the main thing for me. You can tell I don't script these things at all. I just say what I see. So often we come flying through. That was Muirhead, by the way. No, this is Muir End that we're going to. That previous station we sort of visited very briefly. Williams Wood, I believe it was. We'll stop properly for Muir End, I think, shall we? In fact, let's have a look at the schedule. We've got Muir End, Cathcart, Mount Florida, Cross Hill, Queen's Park, Polka Shields and Glasgow. If all goes to plan. I was braking, I'm thinking, Hang on a minute. I'm braking, but I'm not actually braking. And that's because I had the throttle on. You shouldn't brake against the full throttle, should you? It's just not recommended. I should go back and do the training when I've not played a route for so long. And this is why, you know, you do not distract the driver. I'm distracting myself, actually, but... This is Muir End. Actually a minute ahead of time. Although, you know, missing a station out always helps, doesn't it? In that regard. That's better. Of course, on this route, like every other route, we've got collectibles. So we've got these little sort of flower carriers, if you will, that you can collect. There are the newspaper stands. Somewhere as well, we've got posters, and I don't know if any of them... Oh, there's a poster. We've got a poster with the Loch Ness Monster, and probably we've got a map somewhere, if I can find it. Got one there? No, don't think so. There's one. Newton. There you go. Newton is the other station we're talking about. So we've started off here at Neilston, and we're at Muir End now. So we're coming up this way, I believe, up the left-hand side. Oh no, we're going to Mount Florida next, aren't we? So we're coming right at the middle, Mount Florida, Crossrail, Queensport, Polka Shields East into Glasgow. But you can travel across to Newton as well. There is a depot up here as well, in this corner, which you can do a few moves, bringing into service, etc. at night, taking out of service. All that's included. So let's try and make up some time after that little tour. Cathcart is next. Cathcart, of course, where this route gets its name from. Cathcart and the Circle here. So there are services going clockwise and anti-clockwise. Quite a few as well. We'll take a look at the new version of this route once it releases. Probably next week. But as I said, it's just important to be able to capture the original version of the route before it goes. Then you can do a comparison. So we do have a 20 board coming up just before the station. So this is where the Circle joins, as you can see, coming off from the left. So it all kind of happens here at Cathcart. And then also after Cathcart, if you go off to the right, you can go down to Newton, as we saw on the map. If you listen carefully, you can actually hear that water moving in the ambient sound, which I've never noticed before. That actually would make quite a nice screenshot, you know. So let's try it, shall we? Now then, I could do with the Cathcart sign there in the field of view. That'd be quite nice. So let me just put that there, like that. Move that up. Hide the overlay. Actually, it's put that out of focus, hasn't it? It's fine. It's fine. We'll concentrate on the 314, but I think that's quite a nice screenshot. That. So I'll upload that. There we are. Excellent. I do like the photo mode that came in TSW4. I think that's been very useful. It's been very useful for me creating thumbnails for the videos. It was always difficult to take, proper screenshots, especially if you're playing on console. We're on the PS5 today, by the way. And Mount Florida is next. Which to me doesn't sound very Scottish at all. Mount Florida does not sound Scottish. But I think you'll agree, the route looks pretty good as it is, doesn't it? It does, it's got something about it. So the upgraded version is going to be something else. Thank you very much, everybody, by the way, for the feedback on the first episode for the East Coastway and the 313. I'm glad to know from the comments that you think doing the series is a good idea. That's the first thing. And don't forget to let me know in the comments. I've not got any particular order that I want to visit the routes and the DLCs. I'm certainly not doing them in date order. So if there is anywhere you would particularly like me to cover before others, then just let me know in the comments and we can do that. I am going through Jason's spreadsheet, and there is a link to that once again in the description for this video, and we're using that as a base to go through and cross off all the routes and DLCs so that we cover everything over time. It's going to take us a while, but we'll do it. We could also have a summer release coming up. We usually have a summer release, don't we? So we'll be adding more DLC to that list, I've no doubt. But this series is about going back, and actually we've got quite a bit of time here. It's about going back to the the very old ones that we haven't played for a while, and we will eventually come back to the new once we catch up. Yeah, for some reason we got 3 minutes, so let's have a wander. This is Mount Florida, and the ScotRail livery is great, isn't it? In itself, nice bright colours. The actual 314 itself, with its yellow front end, it's got the weathering look. It's got all the flies. It's a very nice looking unit, isn't it? And the ScotRail livery, I think, is very fresh, very pleasing to the eye. Let's see, we're on time. Calling at Cross Hill, Queen's Park, Polka Shields East, because we do have East and West on this route, and then Glasgow Central. And Glasgow is really going to get a lot done to it in the new version, especially the amount of traffic that you're going to see, because I think it's difficult with these larger stations like Glasgow to make sure it reflects how busy that station is in real life. And I think with the remastered version, as we saw on Dovetail's preview stream, they've addressed that somewhat, and there was a heck of a lot of traffic in Glasgow Central Station, including, as AI only, Azuma's from the East Coast Main Line DLC. So they're layering in just as AI, so you can't drive them. However, you would expect to see Azumas at Glasgow Central, wouldn't you? So, they weren't available in TSW2. The Azuma has only come with TSW4, of course, so they weren't able to do that then. They may have been able to create an AI version, but then all the players would have said, oh, look, there's an Azuma. That means we're going to get Azumas anytime now. And actually, the Azuma didn't come in TSW3, it was TSW4, so there was a couple of years to wait before everybody got their hands on the Azuma as a playable train. And you never know. If we ever get a Pendolino, I've been campaigning for a Pendolino for ages because I like the West Coast Main Line. But if we ever get an Avanti Pendolino, we could see that layering in onto this route, potentially. So there's a thing. So, fingers crossed. Dovetail, if you're listening, please give me West Coast Main Line. Any section, I don't care which section. North, south, I don't care. Overshap. That's the perfect one. But give me a Pendolino. You guys that follow the channel have seen how much I drive the Pendolino on the TS Classic. So I'd love one of those in this. The only two trains that I've wanted in TSW right at the beginning was a Class 37, and we got that. And that's a really nice loco to drive. The other one's the 390 Pendolino, so we've not got that. So I'm hoping in some future release or DLC we will get something like that. So fingers crossed. Right, that's the doors locked. We're off to Cross Hill. And these stations that form part of the circle, they're often quite close together as well. There's a lot of stop-start. So this route, if you like that kind of thing, will be up your street. Some of them are very close together. A lot of speed changes as well, as you can see up in the top right. We've got a 30 board right here. And the gradients are also a little bit up and down. So watch your speed is the message, and also try to stop at every station. Do you know, in these videos I'm getting good form for that now. You guys wind me up with it as well. I think it used to be, I used to have a tendency to spad. Now I've not done a spad for a long time. I've been concentrating on that, but playing in different trains and different units and getting used to the braking again. Now there's something else I'm not anticipating. But I mean, I would have been alright today had I not left the throttle on. So I beat myself in this one. Anyway, in TSW, all you do is lose a few action points. If you do that in... if you miss a station in a career scenario in TS Classic, then you get all sorts of trouble, including failing the scenario, etc, etc, etc. Right, we're off to Queen's Park. So let me know what you guys think. I'd like to know what you think of this route anyway, because some of you will have owned this route for quite some time. Some of you that have been around in TSW for quite a while. I wonder if this is one of your go-to routes. Has it been one of your go-to routes? And are you... Is the upgrade that's coming to this route, is that a welcome thing for you? Would you have preferred another route to be upgraded first instead? where does this route rank amongst all the ones that you're playing in TSW? I think it's probably very, very popular because I don't think they'd remaster a route that nobody was playing. I spent a lot of time on this route when it released. I really did. I played it and played it and played it. There's rail tours on here as well, you see, which I quite enjoyed. With the, I think it's with the diesels from Northern Transpennine. You can run the rail tours. So I did spend quite a bit of time doing that as well. And I played it and played it and played it, but then the next DLC comes out, and then the next DLC comes out, and that's the reason for this series partly, because sometimes you don't go back to the older ones. And this one, for me, I play it occasionally, but it's definitely a victim of being superseded by, new releases. And you can get away, from it in some ways by using the TSW4 quick drive function, where it will look for you a service depending on how much time you've got, and will present you with a random service from all the DLCs that you own. And I've tried that a few times, and I don't know what you guys think. It doesn't seem to be as random as I would hope. So I've done that thinking, well, let's just see if Cathcart comes up, and it hasn't always come up. So I don't know whether that could be improved in the future. It's not a piece of functionality that I use as much as I probably should. I do like the idea, with so many DLCs, I do like the idea of having some kind of randomizer which will pick me something. Would it be nice to go even further and say, I want to play something random from all the UK DLCs, or I want to play something random from the German DLCs, and it further filter it like that, rather than looking at the whole catalogue that you've got. Filtering it down to just UK would be really, really useful. And I might actually try and suggest that if it hasn't already been suggested. We're at Pollokshields East, and I do believe that Glasgow will be next. So we've got to go via instruction first. This route, by the way, looks really good in snow. This is July, as I said at the beginning, that we've got it set to, so the weather's a bit warmer. It is in the fictional July. If you look out the window right now, it doesn't really match this. But if you run a few surfaces in winter, I think that it looks at its best in winter. And the evening runs are really quite dark. And again, that's where I think the new version of this route has really been improved from what I could see. Because I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen it like you guys on the Dovetail preview stream. But I think the evening runs looked a bit more realistic than they do in this version. So, just got to be mindful of the speed changes on the way into Glasgow. So this for me is really a goodbye to the original route, the original Cathcart, which is a route I've really enjoyed in its current form, and I'm really, really hoping that in its new form from next week, it's even better. And I'm sure it will be. And then, of course, as well as the 314, we'll have the 380, which is also releasing on the 11th of July. So keep your eye out for that, because we will be covering that once that releases. And we should see some layering in as well from, I think, from Fife Circle. We'll see some from there. Glasgow, Edinburgh. We'll see some layering in from that. So there'll be a whole lot more going on as well on this route. Not just the 314 pottering about. So we've got a 15 coming up on the approach to Glasgow. One thing that Matt also said in the stream is that the water here has got the new water upgrade as well. So this is the original water. It looks quite flat, doesn't it? It's moving, but it's quite flat. The new route will have the new water effect. But you see already, Glasgow looks very quiet, doesn't it? You'd expect to see several trains going in and out at any one time. Plenty of stuff parked up in the platforms. It's pretty quiet. In fact, is there only us there? I think there's only us in. Which is not normal, is it? This is 5 to 9 in the morning on this service. You would expect it to be one of the busiest, if not the busiest, part of the day at Glasgow Central. So if you remember this scene right now, then next week when we have the upgraded route, if you go and check it out again, around this time, 5 to 9 in the morning, and you can spawn on foot and do that, you don't have to start a service, of course, and just have a look and see what you think. I think it'll be a completely different picture, so something to look forward to. I think upgrading these routes is a good idea, I really do. Especially when you're not paying for them again. If you already own the original Cathcart, and I think it's on sale at the moment, by the way, if you don't have it, just go and check that out. The upgraded version is just a free add-on. So I think they're not just putting the route out and leaving it. It seems that several of these they're actually upgrading. So I think it's a really good idea, and I'm pleased about it. So there we go. That is the original Cathcart Circle and the 314 from TSW2. Hope you've enjoyed this episode 2. As I said, if you missed episode 1, go back and have a look at that, where we're covering these Courseway. We'll be back next week with more in this Looking Back series, and we'll also play the updated version of Cathcart Circle and the 380. So keep your eye on the feed for that. Until then, take care everybody, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.